the wind when it blows through my bones.
It still doesn't mean God is real. So it's like, okay, like you have to. They're not gonna like make me think that he exists. Like say I'm like evil, but like all right, I'm evil, but like that still doesn't mean that God exists, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
We call Western civilization is based on this understanding.
Oh my God! Really? Western civilization is based on the understanding that if God says that murder isn't wrong, then murder isn't wrong. I wonder what the Eastern civilizations say then.
Exactly. That's why That's why in every place except the West, they think murder is good.
Yeah, every single. Yeah, that explains why the Soviet Union killed so many of its own people.
Wow.
Now, let me make two things clear. First, this doesn't mean that if you don't believe in God, you can't be a good person. There are plenty of kind and moral individuals who don't believe in God and Judeo-Christian values.
Wow, you really surprised me, Prager.
But the existence of these good people has nothing to do with the question of whether good and evil really exist if there is no God.
What?
Why did you say it like that?
Second, there's been plenty of people who believed in God who...
What?
He sound like he's about to start crying or something, dude.
We're not good people.
Okay.
Indeed, more than a few have been evil.
And had their penises in kids' mouths.
Basically, what he's saying is, oh, guess what? The evidence to the contrary, it doesn't matter.
He's saying that.
That's gross.
He's basically dismissing evidence to the contrary.
He's saying that like good people and like people can do good things, but if objective morality given by Jesus doesn't exist, then it doesn't matter. Like, well, okay.
And you just admitted two examples where people don't need God. And then,
well, yeah, but he's saying that it doesn't matter because if God doesn't exist, then good and evil doesn't exist. So those people being good doesn't count. But it's like, it's still the same thing. Like, whether God likes it or not is meaningless. Like, if people are doing good things, it's still good. Like, it's still the same exact thing.
Jesus. Hey, Dennis Prager. If people were evil, does that mean I don't get Christmas presents at
Prager
Christmas?
Prager should read his fucking Bible.
Yeah.
I read the Bible once and it was
The
really
existence
long
of
and arduous.
They also have a bunch of really weird stories in there where just like it's like do you guys remember that story where like that one like fucking slave or prostitute or something like they said that like she only wants donkey-sized penises and they smell of a horse penis, and it's like what the fuck?
That's in
I remember that.
I remember that was my brother used to say that was his favorite Bible verse. It's like in the book of Ezekiel or something like. But I mean, the Bible it starts out really horrible. And it gets better, but it's very uneven. Like some parts are okay, some parts are not.
It's because
okay,
the Bible's been written by many different people over multiple centuries.
But who believes in different gods?
Well, yeah, like some people say that I mean, especially early on, like so many things are like so blatantly illogical that it makes me think that they are symbolic. But if they are symbolic, I mean, like, of course they are symbolic to an extent, at least, but like, you try to think, like, what kind of moral values it's trying to instill into people, and like, for example, the part where, like, Abraham is supposed to, like, kill his son for Yahweh, and then some people are saying that this is like actually talking about some really weird like metaphysical concepts and stuff like that. Like, okay, maybe it is, but that still seems like a pretty weird way of doing it. Or like or the Garden of the Garden of Eden example, like when, like, okay, if it represents like humanity like spirit descending into matter or something, like they get expelled from their heavenly paradise and they have to live on Earth and like all this stuff, like, okay, that's if you want to go with that kind of metaphor, then okay, but what it really tells people is that the snake didn't do anything wrong, and God is kind of acting like
a dick,
like an asshole, and yeah, it's like a very questionable way of trying to like talk about those concepts. It's, I don't know.
I think that I think like I just
or take
love
take the fucking flood example. Like if the flood is supposed to be like some kind of, okay, now you're switching from an earlier epoch to a newer epoch or something, but yeah, but you also have a story where you kill literally everybody to do that. Like,
yeah, not only that, but like the flood story was stolen from the Epic of Gilgamesh. So,
oh yeah, it was.
Well, that's also true.
But I love the first contradiction in the Bible, where where he's like, on the first day I create light, and then he's like, on the fifth day I create the stars.
Well, yeah, but that's why it's not
of light then before the stars.
Well, I mean, because they were not. I mean, they were not that stupid, even back then. I mean, not that you have to be stupid to not know about stars, but I mean, they were. I mean, it's meant to be like that. I believe that that's why when they talk about light, it doesn't mean light in the scientific way. It means something entirely different, but it's still is a really weird way of like going about that.
Like Star
You know, remember when you know how like Abraham can like talk to God telepathically? But like when he's about to sacrifice his son, God has to send an angel to tell him to stop instead of just phoning him.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
You know, can't call the direct line.
It's almost as if God like wanted him to kill his son and just sent the angel so that she'd be too late.
I wonder if he got pissed at the angel, like, why'd you get there so fast? But you told me to go. I was like, yeah, but you know,
supposed to go slow.
I told you to take your time.
God doesn't ensure people will do good. I wish it did. The existence of God only ensures that good and evil objectively exist and are not merely opinions.
What?
Without God, we therefore end up with what...
So, like, why do you value God's opinion over everyone else's?
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, dude. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, so, but it's still an opinion, though, because it's God's opinion. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck does God know?
Because he's God.
Moral relativism, meaning that morality is not absolute, but only relative to the individual or to the society.
How can you have
or to the God?
But how can you have absolute anything if, like, that's what I was trying to get across in my like rambling example about the demiurge, is like, how can you have absolute anything when you don't have an absolute God? Like, when they say, this is like the stupidity of Christianity, when they try to invent an evil God or like Satan, they try to say like God is all good and Satan is all bad. And then God is somehow all powerful, but he still like just allows bad things to happen for some unknown reason.
He plays it's a prank, bro. It's just a prank.
I mean, because like you had other religions, like I think the Persian religion had like
Zoroastrian.
Yeah, they had like the good God and the bad God be like equally powerful.
You know, that's why I always found Greek legends to be more interesting narratively, because the gods weren't all powerful.
Oh yeah.
And when they actually fought monsters, there's actually a chance of them losing.
Yeah, Greek polytheism was pretty rad. Like when it came to like plot. I only believe in it for the plot.
Plot.
Yeah.
I only believe in it for the plot.
But like Christianity didn't want to go with like having two gods. They wanted to be monotheist, but then they still couldn't really handle the problem of evil, so they had to invent
wanted to have it
Satan.
both ways. Well, it's
Yeah,
because
they wanted to have it both ways.
Oh, I mean, the old concept of God was like, hey, he's a god. He's kind of a dick, but that's the only god we have. They kind of just accepted God as he's kind of a dick, but he's the only god we have, so worship him.
I mean, yeah, there are some religions where you just accept that God is both like good, that God is everything, like good and bad, and that's just how it is. Like that makes much more sense I mean, then you could actually say that he's all powerful, but I don't know.
I mean, I feel that like saying that anything is absolute is inherently like anti-materialist, because when it comes to
we are talking about religion here.
Yeah,
so.
when it comes to like materialist philosophy, like you have to be a skeptic, or you at least have to be more skeptical than absolutist, because you have to recognize that materialism as a philosophy is merely the assumption of an objective reality, and so you have to take everything in this
universe,
in this so-called objective reality, as with skeptical philosophy. Like we have to question everything, because nothing can absolutely be absolute.
Nothing can be absolutely asserted.
Yeah.
Well, the idea of having a subjective reality and no objective reality is kind of paradoxical, because if all there was your subjective perception, then that would be the objective reality.
No, because materialism assumes that there's an objective reality, but it still has to be questioned by as that assumption. It can still be understood, but it has to be questioned as well.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying that the idea that there wouldn't be an objective reality is paradoxical.
I agree with you on that one. Because it's something that we can observe, like actually.
Like you could only have. I mean, because if there's only one person, if you're a solipsist, then your reality is the only one that there is. So that is objective. And if you are a subjectivist, but you believe in the existence of other people, then in that case you would also have to. Then you would also have to accept there is an outside world.
Or you can be a fucking postmodernist and not even believe society or morality exists.
Oh man.
Without God, the words good and evil are just another way of saying I like and I don't like.
What's wrong with that?
Since when was that ever not the case? Like, give me a time in history or like a story where that was not the case. Like, is God not saying that I don't like murder? Does God like murder?
This philosophical axiom shit is like, if you see on my fucking camera, dude, I'd be like asleep right now, man. I'm like, shit, like, fuck.
That's why I like the that old philosophical quip. It's a terrible question. Stop talking about it.
Yeah, like God, if you read the Bible, it's all about like God has a long list of things he likes and a long list of things he doesn't like. That's all it is.
I don't want
There's no God. The statement murder is evil.
I don't want you guys to wear fucking mixed cloth. I don't know why, but you can't do it. No mixed fabric. Don't do it, or you're going to hell. Oh, and no gays too.
The statement, I don't like murder. Now, many will argue
it's not a wrong statement.
You don't need moral absolutes. People won't murder because they don't want to be murdered. But that argument is just wishful thinking.
What?
Hitler, Stalin, and Mao.
That's not even an argument.
Murdered.
No, not about Hitler, Stalin, and Mao.
Oh my god.
Wait, that was not an argument.
Oh, come on.
What
man.
you made right there was not a fucking argument.
That's why there's no murder in the Bible.
That's why a Christian has never murdered anyone ever.
Didn't God
Nah, it's a myth. Made by communists like us.
Didn't God have didn't God massacre like a whole like fucking village of people at one point in the Bible? Like,
no, he massacred 2 cities, dude.
Well, I mean, he flooded the world, but wasn't like the third. I mean, how many generations in was Cain? Like, wasn't he like was Cain like Adam's son or Adam's grandson? Like, yeah, and he's already the first murderer.
Like, the problem with this is like Hitler was Christian and Stalin and Mao didn't murder anyone. So
yeah, oh, there you go.
But
Yeah.
that hardly
I
stopped
mean,
them from
yeah.
murdering about 100 million people.
Oh my fucking
Oh
God.
my god.
It is not a coincidence that the rejection of Judeo-Christian
What are you
values
talking about? Literally, Hitler was
But I
Christian.
mean, at least.
Literally Hitler.
But okay, so why did God let that happen then?
Yeah, I
Is,
thought
is he all powerful?
I
thought he was
God
all
had a
powerful.
plan.
Like,
I thought he had a plan for everyone. What was the Jews that got gassed? What was their plan?
yeah.
values in the Western world by Nazism and communism led to the murder of all these.
Nazism
Even-
didn't reject
somehow
Christian
even-
values. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
somehow even this like it doesn't matter what we're talking about, but always like it equates Nazism and communism and says that everything is our fault and we've killed 100 million people. Like, just always comes to the same
Right.
conclusion.
You say they like
Answers everything.
Mao killed 100 million people, then but that like Stalin killed maybe like 40 million, and then Hitler killed like 18 million. So like it should be like 178 million or some shit, but they only added like 100 million. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
and if you don't believe in God, then you're evil. And by the way, give Israel laser guns and like.
Well, Steven Crowder claims
Yeah.
that the Soviet Union killed 60 million people and China killed 40 million people.
60? Damn.
Yeah.
So they're saying that Hitler killed 0 people in this fucking video.
No,
Then,
I'm
basically.
talking about Steven Crowder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hitler
Literal-
couldn't kill anybody because he
literal-
believed in God.
Yeah, that's true.
Innocent people. It is also not a coincidence that the first societies in the world to abolish slavery, an institution that existed in every known society in human history,
What?
were Western societies rooted in Judeo-Christian
Oh.
values.
Fuck
Wait,
you.
wait.
Oh,
Let me ask, like, where does God say that
What
slavery
the
is
fuck?
wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm
God literally
sorry, but I think
promotes
Yahweh.
slavery in the Bible. Like, he literally tells you how you're supposed to own your slaves.
Yeah, because like the Confederate slave owners, they weren't Christian or anything like that, dude.
No, they totally weren't. It has nothing to do with the. It has
you
nothing to
understand,
do with
no,
the
you
fact
understand.
that we're.
It doesn't matter because God was
Yeah.
trying to. God was.
I
trying to
wonder
be
what I
funny.
wonder what those slaveholders used to justify their owning of slaves. Was it fucking Locke? No, it wasn't Locke. Well, Locke was kind of a shithead, but
No, it's okay, dude. All you have to do is just believe in God, and it doesn't matter what you think. God will guide you in the right direction as long as you believe in Him. So God guided Western societies out of slavery because He thought it was bad.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna look up my since we're talking about this. If there's any Christians watching, I hope Dennis Prager is watching, but I somehow doubt it. But
I wonder if he's like a big fan of Big Brain University.
I'm sure he is.
Like I'm sure
I'm
he
gonna
like
look
gave
up
up.
my-
I wonder if he gave up on Prager University, but like he saw our show and continued to make videos just so he could watch us react to them.
Some people get triggered about this. They say that I shouldn't use the Bible to like as an argument for Christians because I don't agree with the Bible. But like whatever, I'm gonna do it anyway. So these are my favorite two Bible verses. This is from Acts 4 verses 32 to 35. Quote, all the believers were one in heart and mind. No one claimed that any of their possessions was their own, but they shared everything they had. With great power, the apostles continued to testify to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and God's grace was so powerfully at work in them all that there was no needy persons among them. For from time to time, those who owned land or houses sold them, brought the money from the sales, and put it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to anyone who had need. And this is from Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. So you should probably consider that. I don't know how you can reinterpret that to mean that you should be a rich capitalist and give Israel laser weapons. Like, it literally says that they shared everything they had and they distributed it according to need. Like that's communism. Like it literally is.
Christian communism at work.
For societies to affirm universal human rights, to emancipate women, and to proclaim the value of liberty.
What? Hold on, pause that for a moment.
Today, the rejection of Judeo...
Emancipate women? I'm sorry, I didn't know it was Christianity that did that. I thought it was like feminism or something, which was like mostly atheists, but I guess fuck me then.
Yeah, not to mention
Well, what do I know?
feminists were like socialists in the first wave, so.
Oh boy. That's too much. Fuck you, Dennis Prager.
Christian values and moral absolutes has led to a world of moral confusion. In the New York Times in March 2015, a professor of philosophy confirmed this. He wrote, "What would you say if you found out that our public schools were teaching children that it is not true that it's wrong to kill people for fun? Would you be surprised? I was."
Yes.
The professor then added, "The overwhelming majority of college freshmen view moral claims as mere opinions."
Whoa!
So then,
Oh my
whatever
God,
you believe
such a-
about God or religion, here is a fact.
So okay.
Without a God who is the source of morality, morality is just
Wait,
a matter of
so
opinion.
did God stop teaching, like, in schools?
And
Like,
and
who
like
was responsible for the change?
think about
Like,
this.
I
Like
thought God was all
if
powerful.
before. Yeah, like if before everybody believed in God and they all believed in objective morality, how come they still could never quite agree what the fuck that objective morality said? Like, nothing has changed. People still disagree about everything. Like, literally nothing has changed.
I mean, he's just trying to say we gotta, ramp up the fucking brainwashing, dude.
Yeah,
and
that's
give him
all
a
he's really
chance.
saying here.
There's really clear objective morality that tells you exactly what you're supposed to do, but nobody knows what the fuck that is.
Yeah, it's almost as if we have dozens of religions on the planet that disagree.
Yeah, it's really
Here's the
objective.
thing. Here's the thing. One thing. I'm not a fan of Immanuel Kant, personally, but I do think I do agree with the idea that you can come up with the morality with reason alone. You can use reason to come up with morality, and you don't need some sort of fucking higher power to tell you what's right or wrong. You can use reason, and we have
to
reason.
agree.
I mean, I don't agree with the conclusions he came up with that, but I do agree with that statement.
So, if you
Yeah, I
want a
tend to
good
agree.
world,
Like, here's the thing,
death of
right? We
Judeo-Christian
can
value.
either use our brains to make morality, or we can write shit in a book and like using our brain and then claim that's morality.
Wait,
and claim
yeah,
that the
let's-
book
let's-
is different.
I
Like,
want, yeah, like, what if Tongo the fucking talking tiger told me that murder is wrong?
I mean, like, think about it. This is the problem with religious claims in general. Like, if you believed in God and then you were trying to figure out what God wants, like, okay, how do you do that? Like, do you pray and then you get a vision from God, and then you, how can you know that that's what He really wants? Like, the problem, like, there's so many religions where people have had visions and revelations and whatnot, and they never agree. Like, they always get different messages from whatever they think God is, and that's why, like, even a lot of religious groups, they say that, like, revelation and religious experience is fundamentally really unreliable, because it obviously is. Like, you can't just
Because crazy
base
people
something-
exist. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can't just base something like, okay, these thoughts appeared in my head, it must be God. Now just uncritically follow me based on faith alone.
Oh,
Like,
you ever heard of Temple OS?
no.
Jacobin, you must have heard of Temple OS.
no, dude.
Basically, this guy who's schizophrenic made this entire program to, like, try to compete with Linux or something. That's like he's like the schizophrenic programmer who just made this entire program using random number generators because he thought God was communicating with him how to make this program.
Some people
Look it
actually
up.
some people actually thought that if they get like a lot of people to get messages from God, then they can like extrapolate, like they can sort of like make a see like which parts match. So it's like kind of they can weed out all the craziness. Like, okay, if we all agree this is what God says, then it's more reliable, but that's still not reliable.
Damn, that's insane.
Well, they were trying to like do it in a reasonable way, but it still just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Should frighten you.
I'm frightened.
I'm Dennis Prager.
It should frighten you.
I'm frightened that like there's not as many people that believe in fucking Bronze Age mythology anymore, dude. I'm really dude, can I like smoke a cigarette and come back, or are we just like?
Yeah, go for it.
If you want to.
You can do whatever, man. It's all subjective.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you can start if you want.
No, we'll wait for you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, you'll just be gone for like 5-7 minutes. No big deal.
Fucking Dennis gave me a headache.
But,
I have a headache now.
All right, well, but I want to talk about this with
Maybe
you.
it's God.
Because like,
Craig me, Dennis.
Because like,
God's punishing me now.
So what is your disagreement with egoism exactly? Like, how do you disagree?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have a well thought out critique because I haven't really looked into it that much. I would need to reread German ideology, and I remember when I first read German ideology, I remember being confused and not understanding what it was saying. That was like so many years ago.
I'm currently reading into German ideology. I'm trying to look for the part where he critiqued Stirner. I suspect that the criticism will be the same criticism that Marx had for the utopians, which was how unscientific their philosophy was. But I don't think that Marx disagrees with the basic principles of egoism. I think he just disagrees of how Stirner came to his conclusion.
Well, I just tend to agree with what Renegade said. Like, I think that you can come up with an objective standard and an objective morality if you just define everything.
Yeah, if you use materialism, you can. But remember that materialism is an assumption of an objective reality, so it's still a skeptical situation.
Yeah, like you can be wrong about morality.
Yeah, like
sure.
I think, yeah, you can make I think you can. It's possible to make an objective standard for morality based on humanity and consensus, but does that mean it's inherently objective? No, it's not, because materialism in itself is the assumption of an objective reality. So you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's like science. You can only get you can never be 100% right. You know 100% everything. You can only get as close as possible. You can only get as close as possible.
Not only that, but also you have to understand that by establishing an objective standard of morality, you'd have to take that from, like, you would have to base that on human consensus. And human consensus, what we understand from modern psychology. The great thing about modern psychology is I feel that it really it's really starting to prove a lot of Stirner's theories about how the ego works and how humans create their own morality out of natural benefit.
Well, think about this though. Like, so, okay, we can't ever get. Basically, like Marxism, it assumes that there is an objective reality, but it also assumes that there is objective truth. For instance, like if the world exists, well, yeah, exactly. So if the world exists, there's truth also exists.
Right, but Marx was an amoralist too. He was also an anti-moralist.
Well, let me finish. So, like,
sorry.
We can't, as people, we probably can't ever get to objective truth. We can just get closer to what objective truth is. So if we create an objective morality, then it's not gonna be a perfect match to what the real objective truth is. If you understand what I'm saying. So you could still have the objective standard exist, we just couldn't fully replicate it as people.
I mean, I agree with that, but I only agree with that when it comes to things that were not invented by humanity itself, because when it comes to stars, physics, scientific things, that existed before humanity, but it's impossible.
Well,
to
who's
prove,
to say?
It's impossible to prove whether or not. Well, based on materialism, we understand that existed since before humanity, but it's impossible to prove whether or not morality existed before humanity, or whether morality came to fruition due to humanity.
But if you say that if your morality is that suffering's bad, then you don't need humanity for that. All you need is biological sentient creatures. Like, suffering's going to be bad regardless if you have people or not.
I mean, yeah, nobody likes to suffer, and so suffering is understood as bad. But that's not because there's some objective morality. It's just something that everybody understands. All humans understand, because most
it is not just humans. Everything understands
it. Any living thing, any living thing understands. Most of them, at least, don't like to suffer.
Unless you're a degenerate.
Unless you're like a masochist or a sadist.
No, you would have to define suffering as something unpleasant. Like, it doesn't have to be physical. Like, if you like it, then it's not really suffering.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But like I said, that idea came out of a consensus among humanity, and by extension among living things.
Sure, but I mean,
like, how could the concept of suffering exist before life itself?
Well, that depends how you define suffering. Like, if you define suffering as a biological reaction, then that reaction always existed, even before people gave a name to it. Just like stars existed before we started calling them stars.
I guess, but it didn't. I guess, but it didn't. When it comes to, but like I said, stars and morality are two very different things, like in how we observe them, and so.
Well, if you think about it, like, if you have
existed before life itself, I mean, of course, it existed before humanity, but I don't think biological suffering existed before life did. Life has to create biological suffering.
Yeah, I mean, not before life.
Yeah. So we can study that, as materialism, but we have to understand that we'll never know the absolute truth because it's impossible.
Yeah, I agree. Is Raven back?
Yes.
Oh shit! Why didn't you say something?
Dude, I don't know.
All right, well, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Next video is what was the Cold War?
From the end of World War II, the United States and its Western European allies were involved in a nearly half-century-long titanic struggle with the Soviet Union, known as the Cold War. It was cold only in the sense that the Russians and Americans never came to direct blows, but it was certainly not cold for the Cubans, Koreans, Vietnamese, and others who got caught up in the communists' relentless drive to destabilize the free, democratic, capitalist world.
The communists' relentless drive to destabilize the free, democratic
Okay. So those three examples they gave: Cuba, Korea, and Vietnam. So, like, those were all democracies, right? Cuba before socialism, Cuba a democracy, Vietnam a democracy, and Korea was a democracy, right? No, they were not. Like, they were all fucking colonies and military dictatorships.
Yeah, literal.
What the fuck are you talking about?
They were literal oligarchies. Like, the communists really destabilized the free, democratic, capitalist world.
Yeah, like Cuba was literally a dictatorship that was also a U.S. puppet. Korea was a Japanese colony, which then then South Korea became a U.S. backed military dictatorship, and Vietnam was a French colony, which then South Vietnam became a U.S. backed military dictatorship. So, how the fuck can they just how can they say shit like this?
I don't know, dude.
Yo,
They're-
my shit's
They
not,
could have
like,
at least
sinking.
picked better examples. Like maybe they could have found one country that was sort of a democracy. Like, why didn't they say Germany or something? At least like Weimar Germany was nominally a democracy.
But, what'd you say, Raven?
Yo, my shit's not like syncing up. Like, are you on 33 seconds right now?
Yeah,
It takes a
Yeah.
second, so you just have to keep pressing play until it syncs up.
we're at
Oh,
we're
okay.
at 3.
All
We're at 33
All
right
right.
now. So.
Whatever. Yeah, let's go.
There were, to be sure, many morally complex moments during this long struggle. But the Cold War was, at its core, as clear a conflict of good versus evil as World War II had been.
Oh my god.
Just like that war, the Cold
Yeah,
War was
so
a death match
the-
between the forces representing freedom
Stop the
and the
video.
forces representing total.
The forces of
So yeah, it was, I
There's that
agree.
word
I,
again. Alright, here's
I
that
totally-
word. Wait,
Yeah.
here's that word again. Totalitarianism. What the
I
fuck
totally
is
agree.
a totalitarianism?
I totally agree. It was a really clear case of good versus evil, and unfortunately, the bad guys won.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
shit.
It's like
one day.
Yeah,
totalitarianism.
everyone's here, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Because hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, died in it, the Cold War can, with good reason, be described as the Third World War.
Oh.
The instigator of this war was Joseph Stalin, the mass-murdering.
Oh my
How was he?
Really?
What did he do
Yeah.
that instigated it?
It's not as if they had what was it called? Plan Impossible or whatever it was called.
Operation Unthinkable.
Yeah, it's not as if Churchill literally wanted to invade the Soviet Union as soon as Germany fell or anything. Like, really, you're gonna blame Stalin for the Cold War? Fuck off.
Stalin was actually very concerned that the Korean War could spread to Europe, and he didn't want it to.
Dictator of Russia and of the many non-Russian peoples he had incorporated into what was known as the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. or Soviet Union
Pause
for
that
short.
shit.
Stalin
Pause
knew
that shit. I like how he made it out like, oh, Soviet Union just forced other countries into its borders.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an agreement or anything.
Yeah, it's like
Not like they were
It's not
like,
like these regions
independent
democratically
Soviet.
fucking consented to fucking joining
these
the
these
USSR.
regions. These
It's not like they
regions
had the
were
right to secede, which America doesn't have.
these regions were already part of the Russian Empire, and then, I mean, Soviet Union actually gave a bunch of them right to secede, which, you know, Finland, for example, did, and we were not incorporated back into it. And yeah, now people are gonna say like, oh yeah, it's because the fucking Winter War and shit, but we literally lost both of our wars against the Soviet Union.
knew that his Soviet armed forces could not take on the might of the Free West. Instead, he decided to wage this fight through the use of proxies. And by a
Are you
massive...
fucking
What?
serious? This is so fucking backwards. It was literally Churchill that couldn't invade the massive force of the USSR. Like, the United States didn't want to help Churchill because they think that both of them combined wouldn't even be able to fight the USSR. This is so backwards and retarded.
This is why the Soviets had a bunch of proxies and the West didn't have any proxies.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The West didn't have, like, you know, fucking nuclear silos established in Turkey or anything.
of disinformation and misinformation. His initial
This is
prey
the
was
peak of
Eastern
fucking
Europe,
irony
the
right
Baltic
now.
states, Lithuania,
Like,
Estonia, and
it's-
Latvia,
stop the video.
as well as Poland.
This is like peak fucking irony. It's like Prager fucking you video is talking about like, hey guys, watch out. There's a bunch of propaganda videos out there.
Yeah, right.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Watch out, guys.
What the fuck, man?
It's like the you know when you go outside and you see the sign with like the stranger danger sign, like the guy in the fucking fedora.
Yeah.
Like imagine that guy telling you to like watch out for strangers and weird people.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What is this map? Is that supposed to be Belarus in red? And like, what the fuck is this?
Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Czechoslovakia.
Wait, what the fuck? What is this map?
Stalin had troops in all these countries at the end of the war.
Wow, and the U.S. doesn't have any troops in any other country.
President Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, has anybody heard about like the pillaging of Bavaria by the U.S. fucking armies? Like,
I mean, they both literally had troops in countries for roughly the same reason. I mean,
Okay.
The United States had militaries like stationed all over the fucking world.
Here's I'd like to point something out, and I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. One of the biggest fucking pet peeves I have when people criticize the Soviet Union is not even that they criticize the Soviet Union, is that they will criticize the Soviet Union when their country their country does the same shit.
Yeah.
And they don't criticize their own shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they both had troops in different countries because of the Second World War, but even so, like I think the Soviet Union had more of a logical reason because they at least needed to get their troops through Europe to get to Germany to continue fighting against Hitler. Like, and then when the Cold War started, they had military bases also, but like. I don't know how they can paint this like so one-sided. Like, okay, the Soviets, they had troops in Korea because they're evil, but we had troops in Korea because like of some totally different reason. Like, okay, like no, you both just had troops there because you were fighting against Japan. Like what the hell?
Dude, look at the picture of Stalin next to the picture of Roosevelt. I mean, Stalin looks fucking heroic, dude, and Roosevelt looks evil.
In Roosevelt at the Yalta Conference, the Soviet leader had no intention of removing them, and gaining control over their governments proved to be quite easy.
So, okay, so that's probably why the Soviet troops left Korea in like 1947. Or 48, and that's why the U.S. troops are still there, right?
Yeah.
Soviet Union doesn't even fucking exist, but U.S. troops are still in Korea and in Germany, and in like
everywhere, dude.
Everywhere.
They're
fucking
everywhere.
Yeah, their troops are literally in every country in the fucking.
I remember I was listening to some Brit complain about how there's like 7. I remember hearing some Brit talk about. She was complaining about how there's like 7 military bases in fucking the UK, and how. And how they have to activate their nukes. They have to get permission from the United States.
I mean, the Americans even want to get their troops here, and they want to like. The reason that Finland hasn't ratified the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty is not because Finland has some crazy, insane plan to develop nuclear weapons or something. No, it's just it's so that Americans can bring their crazy nuclear submarines and nuclear bombers here.
Honestly, this is just so fucking backwards.
Easy. In March 1946, Winston Churchill famously declared that from Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent. When Stalin threatened both Greece and Turkey, President Harry Truman finally...
Threatened? What are you talking about? He literally pulled out of Greece when it was in a civil war. Like Greece was in a fucking civil war after World War II, between socialists and nationalists, and Stalin pulled out of that war. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and UK intervened.
I bet.
And like fucking, oh man, it's just fucking so retarded.
The so-called Truman Doctrine was born. The United States and its allies would not permit any further expansion of the communist empire. The Cold War was on.
Empire.
For the next 5 decades and across 4 continents, Europe, Africa, Asia, and South America, the US and the Soviet Union battled for influence, sometimes overtly, like in Korea and Vietnam, and sometimes covertly, through their various spy agencies. But the moral lines of this battle never changed. The freedom of the West versus the communist tyranny of the Soviet East.
Oh my god. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, you know who was a great like freedom fighter? Pinochet.
Yeah, Pinochet.
When he beat those dirty communists who were democratically
also
elected.
Margaret Thatcher. She was a true bastion of freedom.
Yeah. Well, Reagan was great too.
Yeah, Reagan too.
I mean, so okay, so who who was giving weapons and funds to Pol Pot? Like surely it was the Soviet Union, right? No, it was fucking West. It was the US.
It was literally the UN that supported fucking Pol Pot.
Yeah, because Pol Pot was anti-Soviet.
Yeah, he was literally like not even a fucking Marxist, and people say that like Cambodia is a fucking example of communist tyranny.
There are, nonetheless, as there were even at the time, those who argue that the Cold War was an overreaction by the West, that the ambitions and strength of the Soviet bloc were greatly exaggerated, and that America, with its massive defense build-up, was just as responsible for the Cold War as was the Soviet Union.
Okay, stop.
Wow.
So, the CIA has actually literally released declassified documents where they said that they never actually believed that the Soviet Union was planning a military expansion into Western Europe. They never actually believed it was all just bullshit, like scare tactics.
Yeah.
But this simply isn't true, as an immense amount of archival evidence from Russia, not available until after the Cold War ended, now proves. Nikita Khrushchev, Stalin's successor, stated Soviet intentions plainly in 1956. "We will bury you."
Oh my god, that is such a fucking quote mine. Holy shit. Fucking what's that word called? How does that phrase go?
Cherry picking.
Well, cherry picking, but also something by omission.
Bias by omission.
Bias by omission. Exactly.
That's a really vague. Take like a really vague statement, like totally outside of its original context.
Honestly,
like wasn't he saying like
Khrushchev was saying this if the United States would try to fucking like fuck with the U.S., he would say we will bury you. He didn't just say we will bury the West. Like no, that's not what he said.
I thought it was more about like communism was going to bury capitalism, like, you know what I mean?
No, he was saying
he was saying if you attack us, then we will take you down with us.
That's what he said. Like if you attack us, we will bury you. Hold on, let me find the actual quote real quick.
Well, the context, not like the quote.
I mean, like Khrushchev was literally the guy who was saying that we need to do everything peacefully and we can peacefully coexist with the West, and like Khrushchev was one of those people who gave more legitimacy to Euro-communism and reformism, which was saying that communism needs to predominantly be spread in the Western countries via like peaceful like parliamentary influence. Like,
all right, so
that's why you had like that's why
he immediately dropped it when he saw how aggressive the West was.
I mean, that's why in the UK and Finland and Italy you had all different parties making statements like how they can achieve socialism through elections.
This is the actual quote. Socialist states base ourselves on the idea that we must peacefully coexist. About the capitalist states, it doesn't depend on you whether or not we exist. If you don't like us, don't accept our invitations. Don't invite us to come to see you. Whether you like it or not, history is on our side. We will bury you.
Yeah, so he's saying that like
it's a little bit of both.
In capitalism.
It's a little bit of both, about like what you said and what we said.
Yeah.
The West. Nor would any amount of negotiation, détente, as it was called then, have led to a just conclusion of the war. The American diplomat George Kennan rightly warned that short of becoming a communist country, there was nothing the United States could do to gain the Kremlin's trust. The Soviets could not be appeased.
Gee, I wonder why.
I wonder why they couldn't be appeased. It's almost as if like you guys literally tried fucking like embargoing the shit out of them and like destroying their economy.
I mean, yeah, like the U.S. actually invaded the Soviet Union already in 1918.
Exactly, yeah.
So, like
the U.S., France, and UK all together tried to stop the Bolshevik Revolution. So it's stupid as fuck.
But even containment was an inadequate strategy. Yes, the Soviet Union could not have beaten the US in a head-to-head confrontation, but it didn't have to. Victory in the Cold War would have allowed it, through intimidation and subversion, to dominate the globe, making communism, rather than democracy and capitalism, the preeminent...
No, not democracy, just capitalism. We're just getting rid of capitalism.
I mean, like, what if you just like this is like the incredible part to me. Like the US, they just think that they get to decide for every other country what those other countries want to do. Like if Chile elects a socialist president because they just want socialism, then the US thinks that it's supposedly their moral duty to go in. I mean, of course, it's just to protect the profits of capitalists, but they claim that it's some kind of moral obligation. And like when the Vietnamese just want socialism, the US thinks, oh, we got to stop those Vietnamese from doing what they want to do. Like, how can they think that they have the right to just tell other countries that they can't be socialist if they want to be socialist? Like, this is not even about the Soviet Union forcing the US to be socialist. This is just like, how dare other countries be socialist? Well, if they want to be socialist, let them fucking be socialist. Like, worry about your own country, leave everybody else alone.
Yeah, exactly.
But human rights
is the fucking empire who wants to control everybody else.
Yeah, human rights though. The Soviet Union was starving its people.
Ideology. There were many times during the 5 decades of the war that it seemed like this would be the case. But thanks primarily to the strong leadership shown by Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, and Pope John Paul II, the Cold War...
those bastions of freedom.
Those were strong leaders, yeah, but they were
too.
Fuck.
They were great. They gave weapons to Pol Pot and everything.
Yeah, they gave weapons to fucking Ronald Reagan sold weapons to fucking the Mujahideen, who would later form,
basically Al-Qaeda.
Who would later found Al-Qaeda, and Margaret Thatcher did even more fucking bad shit than that, and Pope John Paul II is literally a puppet of the US. Like there's literally released documents of the CIA purposely choosing a Polish pope to try to get the Polish people to revolt against the communist government. Like, it's so fucking bad.
Ended not with a bang, but a whimper. The Soviet Union was, at the close of the 1980s, to use historian Paul Johnson's description, a bewildered giant. Economically bereft, militarily exhausted, no longer able or willing to enforce its will. Communism had failed in every possible way, economically, politically, morally. It had tried to create a utopia on Earth and instead created hell for all of the nations that came under its sway. Yes, the forces of liberty eventually won the Cold War, but this triumph offers little consolation to millions who died or suffered needlessly through no fault of their own.
Dude, like, I know mad people that have, like, their parents grew up in a socialist country, or like they did, and like they are not like against it at all. So like,
yeah, I mean,
they were like, hey, we had like food and jobs. Now there's like fucking now we don't have that.
Just look at Eastern Europe now.
Child prostitution.
Like, just look at Eastern Europe and Yugoslav and like the Yugoslav region now. Ever since the collapse of the fucking of the Soviet Union, just like look at how those countries are doing now. Russia is a fucking an impoverished oligarchy. Poland is a fucking practically like a religious fascist state. Like, they're practically phalangists at this point. Ukraine is literally like fascist and is fucking like murdering people based on ethnicity. It's like
the Baltic states are all like a laughing stock now.
Yeah,
with falling populations because everybody's just fleeing those countries to go some other place.
Yeah, like literally ever since the collapse, ever since the end of the Cold War, the fucking Eastern world, besides like China, but even China, it's like the conditions are so fucking terrible compared to what they were before.
I mean, like when socialism was destroyed in Albania, I think the biggest like 1/3 of the Albanian economy in like the late 90s was a pyramid scheme. I'm not even joking. Like, dude, it was like some cosmetics like company.
the Ukrainian government, they gave veteran status to like the Nazi collaborators during World War II. Yeah, they gave them veteran status.
Oh my fucking god!
Jesus,
dude. It's so bad.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, freedom, my guys.
Yeah.
For a never viable and now badly discredited cause. I'm Andrew Roberts for Prager University.
And I'm a fucking asshole.
Hey, imagine being such a hack that you go on Prager University to talk for 5 minutes about something you obviously know shit about.
That face. Somebody screenshot this, please.
Well, I'm sure they get paid.
Yeah, no, this is like...
Please donate. To what, you fucking bourgeois fuck?
Yeah, please.
You already get like gajillion millions of dollars. What do you need more?
Please donate to our... Please donate to our fucking... to our YouTube channel that's sponsored by the oil industry.
Fucking
which is one of the richest...
fucking mouse.
One of the richest industries in the fucking, like, in the world is sponsoring this YouTube channel.
PragerU must get so much money from different places because they deny climate change, so they get like all the fossil fuel money. They suck the military industrial complex cock like constantly, so they must get that money.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure like they probably like are pro tobacco as well. Like, wouldn't surprise me.
I would be surprised.
You'd be surprised. I recently watched a video by PragerU. Well, not recently. It was a little while ago. I watched a video by PragerU, and they were actually promoting e-cigarettes. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know why, man. I have no fucking.
Well, they just want the e-cigarette money.
Tobacco companies invested a lot in fucking tobacco alternatives.
Have you noticed
they're investing tons of money in weed right now.
Have you noticed the amount of like clearly corporate propaganda against big tobacco? Like, it's fucking weird, man. Like, why are they doing it? Besides,
you gotta donate to my Kulak grain silo, though.
Remember that really shitty one with like all the meme, with like all the really shitty like.
Yeah.
This came out in like 2014. It was
all
like
the 2012 memes. Yeah.
No, 2010 memes, dude.
Really like 2011, 2010 memes.
It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. It's a trap.
It's like.
That's like 2008 at that point. Like, that's not even 2011 memes. It's like 2008 memes.
Yeah, it's like the fossil fuel companies deny climate change, and then you have like electric car companies talking about climate change. It's like it's happening on both sides to an extent.
Well, of course, the electric car companies are going to say climate change is real. Buy electric cars.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to adapt to like
the times.
They're trying to use the circumstances as like their marketing gimmick. It's like the same thing with cannabis legalization when you have all these big corporations trying to like start selling weed now.
Tobacco companies are actually pouring like millions of dollars in investing in fucking cannabis real estate and shit.
Well, okay, so this was like a good 2 hours of Prager, and my head's hurting. Yeah, my brain is getting too big again. It doesn't fit into my skull.
Yeah, that tends to happen. Thanks to everyone who tuned in to watch the video, and have a happy new year, comrades.
Class dismissed.
Yay.